I'm a staff sergeant here at 14, and I wouldn't think of anywhere else to work but this division here in the city. I grew up in 14 Division as a young kid. I lived in the streets surrounding this division. I went to school in this division. I went to Montrose Public. I went to St. David's. I lived on Roxton. I lived on Montrose. My parents lived on College Street up to a while ago, and the whole community as a whole, it's got all sorts of different ethnic backgrounds, and people that live in this community support us, and we try to do the best job we can for the people of this community to keep it safe.
I love it, and I cherish the times that I've been here over the years, so definitely going to miss it. It's got a lot of character. And it's kind of like having a new car. If you have a new car, you're worried about scratching it. In this place, it's such an old place, we don't care about scratching it. It's got a lot of good stories that could, if the walls could talk.
Yeah.
A lot of history over the years. A lot of bad guys have gone through the division as well. So, yeah, we're going to miss it.
Welcome to the new site of our 14 Division. My name is Ruth White, and I am the unit commander of 14 Division. Honored guests, I just want to acknowledge the team that has worked together to make this dream a reality. While a building is made from bricks and mortar, more importantly, partnerships were made building this new station between our neighborhood and our community partners who work together with members of 14 Division in developing a design that we all can be proud of and that will stand for generations. And a special thank you must be made to Staff Sergeant Dave Woodley. That's okay, I don't need that anymore, I'm fine. Dave Woodley. Dave has been instrumental in starting this project from the beginning, and I hope to be there to stand beside him when we cut the ribbon at the end. And I want to thank you, Dave, for all of your efforts in putting today together and everything you've done, getting everyone together to help us design and build this new station. Don't need to introduce. Chief, please say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent and Chair, Mr. Colle, friends. It is a great honor and privilege today. Today is a day that we have looked forward to for very many years. It is a day that we've approached with great anticipation, and I know it took a lot of work to get us here. I want to take the opportunity to say thanks. First of all, I want to thank Ruth White. Ruth, who is known in our organization as either she who must be obeyed or she who will not be ignored. But Ruth has been a tremendous advocate and a great leader for 14 Division. She's done a great job in this community, and she's done a great job in helping us get to this point. And sometimes it's important to acknowledge that leadership. And this is not leadership that just goes out and makes decisions. This is leadership that brings an alliance of people together, who brings members of the community together. And one of the things that, quite frankly, the Toronto Police Service is most proud of for this project and other similar projects that we have undertaken around the city is the partnership that has grown between ourselves and the people in our neighborhoods that we are sworn to serve. But we don't serve you in isolation. We serve you in partnership, and we serve you as a team. And the design of this building and its construction and its future operations will reflect the teamwork that built it together.
Well, we're with Stantec Architecture, and I guess we were awarded the project in mid-2009.
Yes.
All right. And we started the design process at that time. We are the prime architectural consultants, so we lead the full team, and we worked with the Toronto Police Service and the community representatives to develop the design for Division 14.
Well, I think what's of critical importance is having a building that fits into the neighborhood. And this is a somewhat unique site in that you are surrounded by a neighborhood. But that's also a huge opportunity too, to engage the community and to bring them into the design discussions. So many of the immediate residents, neighbors, were invited into the design committee, and I think that's what made this project particularly unique.
The real trick to facilities like this, especially in an intense and urban neighborhood like this, is the balance between security and invitation and accessibility. Like really wanting to create an architecture that is very inviting, almost like a community center. People feel comfortable about coming and going, but the reality is there's a very small percentage of the building people can actually penetrate. So making the most use out of a lobby space, for example, and making it visually accessible, physically accessible, entirely barrier-free, and just being, the landscape is very important, how the edges work, and the materiality, and this Division 14 is very much about trying to create a sense of garden on the whole site that the secure programs just kind of reside in, but they're not very visible. They're there, but it's more about creating a community connection, as Tom was saying.
Unlike a typical police facility of this size, most of the parking is underground. So that's something you don't see, and for good reason. So, but the main material that you will see is a brick lower ground floor with some glass, and then almost hovering above it a limestone clad second floor. And then the roof, as was talked about during the ceremonies, is going to be a green roof. So it'll be planted, and then there's a series of garden walls kind of surrounding some of the secure service areas into the back of the building.
That's an interesting aspect to it, in that this low masonry wall that Tom talked about really wraps around the site and defines the interior secure space as well as the exterior secure space, but feels like a garden wall from the community side. And then the entrance lobby is like a garden gazebo. And it's really well connected to the park on the north side. And, just sort of the diffusion of inside and outside becomes part of this public accessibility.
Well, I think, as Mike alluded, the real challenge and the real success of this kind of project is having both a secure facility and yet something that's publicly inviting. And it's that interface between the two in the community room and the entrance lobby, those spaces which transition one into the other, which I think are very satisfying.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is, because once the building's built and it's up and operational, and it sort of does what it needs to do, and it's very functional, as Tom was saying, it's very satisfying. But the process of actually getting there, working with the police service, working with the community, and having that memory of that sort of team energy and synergy that kind of all builds to create this functional, community-connected, architecturally strong project is we take a lot of pride in that. It's all part of the idea, I think, of a city building, and at the level of the police, the police service, the idea of community policing. It's not just about the building and accessibility, but it's about engaging the community in getting to that point. I mean, we had lots of really interesting debates about masonry, the color of the masonry. We proposed the color. The community thought it was a little bit scary, so it was a great process. A lot of dialogue back and forth, and the materials that you see in the building as it is constructed are very much authored by all of us, the community and the police service, and that's a big thing for us to take pride in. We feel very strongly about creating that kind of synergistic process.
Oh, it is going to be a fantastic building. The actual building is going to be 2-story, where this is 3, housing obviously the police station, but a fantastic community room that they will have access to, and they can apply to bring their community events, neighborhood watch, residents association, business association, and we can share the community room together. My CPLCs will be moved from the Harbourfront Center finally into a division where it belongs. The crew from the substation will be joining us to become one, and it's going to be a fantastic designed building with parks that the actual neighbors can come and use. We're not putting fences up around so that they will have access to use the park benches, the parks, their kids will be able to play. It's going to be a community, yet police station. They wanted access. They wanted something that wasn't institutionalized. They wanted to meld into their community. They wanted it to be part of the community. We had a battle to begin with, as you well know. Some people were fearful of us coming into their community, yet we've been across the street for 40 years. So once we convinced them we were good partners and we would work together, they softened up and are welcoming us into their community. Traffic's going to be the same as it is with us for 40 years. Parking is going to be even better because we have 2 levels underground that are going to have 180 spots. More parking than we've ever dreamed of. So parking problem should certainly be alleviated with the new construction. The history is Barney and Miller. 14 Division has a history. We are the flagship. We will remain the flagship. It's just in a different building. So we're looking at it as a positive move. The unique in 14 is we have Little Italy, Little Portugal, Little Brazil, Koreatown, Chinatown. It is I've been in many divisions. No division has the amount of diversity that we have. So we don't have issues where we don't get along. I jokingly say we love each other equally, and sometimes we dislike each other equally. It is unique because of that diversity that no other division has within its borders. Green roof, we're LEED silver, which is a standard that must be maintained for every building that the city builds. And we're going to have water catchment. We have the heating underground. It is everything that can be done to make it energy efficient, space efficient will be utilized to diminish the footprint in the community.
And when do we move in?
Oh, hopefully, big question mark, September of 2012 is the goal. You'll see it up and running, or up at least in the spring of 2012, but actual move-in probably won't be operational to September 2012.